appeals court reinstating the president's sweeping tariffs after a federal court ruled to block them, while a panel of judges say that Trump doesn't have the power to impose some of those tariffs, and how the White House is responding. Plus, Elon Musk announces his departure from the Trump administration after his 130-day tenure leading Doge, what this means for the department, as well as the efforts to downsize the federal government. Also, a former employee of Sean Diddy Combs takes the witness stand, testifying that the hip-hop mogul sexually assaulted her, as Combs denies all allegations. ABC News Live reports starts right now. I'm Kana Whitworth here in Los Angeles, and we begin now with our top story at this hour. A temporary win for the White House after an appeals court delays a ruling from the Court of International Trade blocking the president's global tariffs on trade partners. Now, in a new statement, a White House spokesman responded to the appeal court's decision, calling it a positive development, adding that the president will, quote, continue to use all tools at his disposal to advance trade policy that works for all Americans. A three-judge panel struck down Trump's sweeping tariffs yesterday as, quote, contrary to law, saying that the president does not have the power to unilaterally impose some levies. A second federal court today had also determined that the global tariffs were, quote, unlawful. And ABC News' Christian Cardero is tracking the latest for us from our D.C. bureau.
Kana, this ruling by the appeals court technically allows the Trump administration to carry on with its tariff policies, at least for now. It put the brakes on the lower court's ruling, which said the means the president used to impose these sweeping tariffs are illegal. The administration blasted that decision, questioned the court's authority, and immediately filed its appeal. It even argued enforcing the lower court's ruling would be a national security risk because it upends the president's ability to negotiate. The president is negotiating with several major trading partners, including China and the European Union, but Trump's negotiating power may still be impacted despite the appeals court temporarily siding with him as the fate of this policy overall escalates towards the Supreme Court. Kana?
All right, Christian, our thanks to you. So for more, I want to bring in Chief Policy and Advocacy at Groundwork Collaborative, Alex Jaquez. Thank you so much for being here with us. So if we can, let's talk timeline, which I know is tricky, right? But there's companies that have been trying to plan ahead all this time, and they're doing this amid all of this uncertainty. So do you know of companies right now that are having to make a decision like freezing investments, stopping hiring entirely?
That's absolutely right. And I think we're starting to see it show up in the data and what companies are telling us. So if you look at durable goods orders, which was just released this week, you saw fall in durable goods orders. That means fewer companies are importing parts and heavy machinery. You're seeing a real wait and see approach as companies try to figure out what their costs are going to be next week or next month or next year. And then you've seen on the retail side, retailers start to say that they're going to have to increase prices. They have burned down their inventory. They are at the last of their ability to absorb the tariffs on their own. And now major retailers like Walmart, like Nike, like Adidas are saying, look, we're going to have to pass these prices along to consumers. And the rulings, I think, over the last couple of days are just going to prolong the confusion and the uncertainty. I'm sure you've heard this word every single time you've brought someone on to talk about this. The uncertainty is extremely high right now, and it makes it a hard choice for companies to invest, to hire, or to even make any sort of business decision whatsoever.
Right. Really, really hard to plan ahead. But what about the Trump administration? How does the Trump administration negotiate with some of these other countries without the leverage of tariffs? Do you think that if they just lowered them, that would make a big difference here? Or do you think they have some ground to stand on in terms of negotiation?
So I don't think that it is likely that the Trump administration is going to back off. And I think everything that we've heard from them so far indicates that they're going to plow forward. And I'm going to throw a few numbers at you right here. They have other authorities of other laws that they could use to impose tariffs. Section 301, Section 232, Section 122. Some of these they've already implemented on autos, for instance, or on China specifically. And I anticipate that they will start launching investigations and other processes to start in motion backup plans in case the courts do throw out the IEEPA tariffs, the IEEPA tariffs, which are the ones that the Court of International Trade has vacated.
So while this all plays out in the court system here, how is the Federal Reserve supposed to analyze the markets?
Well, I'm sure they're pulling their hair out. Saw a number of regional Fed governors today speaking all across the country. Austin Goolsbee talking about tariffs being, a condition that they are going to have to reckon with. And every single day, every single month that they don't have further clarity about what trade policy is actually going to be, just makes it harder for them to do their job, which Chair Jay Powell said today and very firmly backed it up, was price stability and unemployment. And that's the dual mandate of the Fed. And it's just making their job more difficult when they don't know how a key part of economic policy is going to play out. And so going to continue to see the data come in, look at inflation, look at the labor market, and look at consumer spending and sentiment, and try to figure out where to go from there.
Right, the Fed making it very clear today that it remains independent. It's not going to play into some of these political woes. All right, Alex Jaquez, thank you so much for being here with us today.